is your Game of Thrones news update for the past week, where I share with you what I consider to be the most important Game of Thrones news from the past 7 days or so. Warning, there are spoilers for the final season in this video, so watch at your own risk. Not a lot of news, but I'm trying to do this every week. Also, I'm really struggling with autoimmune problems right now, so this is kind of a fun distraction for me. So let's start with King's Landing. First, the Dragon Pit construction is coming along beautifully, and now we can for sure know it's the Dragon Pit they're going to be filming on and not using the location for some other set. Not that there was a real possibility for that, but I like to keep my options open, and also not say something is for certain unless I know it is for certain. I'm still down for Dany landing her dragons, or this hurts to say, dragon, and the Dragon Pit after King's Landing has been ravaged by Cersei and her wildfire versus the Night King. Or maybe Jon heads there on a dragon named after his bio dad and goes to meet with Cersei to smack some sense into her. We already have leaked pictures of the two meeting and having a discussion. But with how quickly horses and boats seem to travel in this universe, I don't really think Jon needs a dragon to get there quickly. A tiny part of me hopes the Night King lands his undead dragon in the Dragon Pit, even if that seems unlikely. And from there he just goes to town on King's Landing. I am super stoked to see the Dragon Pit back for the final season. I was really impressed with the Dragon Pit last season, even though the dragon skeletons hanging around was a bit goofy, but let's just let that go. Still on King's Landing, something intriguing took shape over a few days. I mean, besides this photo that shows that winter is definitely at King's Landing this season. At first, it was just a red building that could have been used to film something involving a dragon or undead dragon or things that weren't human, as a red screen isn't unheard of for special effects for non-human sort of things. But then the building became more detailed, and it turned out it's the Red Keep. So no giant red screen for crazy production or special effects. What gets me excited about this is we know they had to create the Red Keep set in order for it to get absolutely wrecked. And I know a lot of places are going to get wrecked this final season, but I really want to see King's Landing take a pounding. Especially if Cersei stays in the Red Keep and just refuses to leave as it just crumbles around her. What makes the appearance of the Red Keep even more exciting is the location. The gate we've seen constructed is close to the Red Keep building. We saw it made to look like it had been breached or demolished for someone or something to get through, and then a facade put over it to look like it hadn't been breached. Meaning we'll see the normal looking gate, an attack, and boom, breached gate. And from the books, we know the gates closest to the Red Keep are the Iron Gate, Dragon Gate, and River Mud Gate. So at least now we know the gate is one of those. If D&D go by this book illustration and map, but I see no reason for them not to do that. I think the Night King landing in the Dragon Pit while his crew bang on the Dragon Gate and breach it would be so cool. Or even the reverse of that. Of course, him just flying above King's Landing, freaking everyone out, would be great too. So if you had to pick a gate, which one would you guess is the one that's going to be breached, and why? And kind of interesting news, we're going to see Highgarden again in the final season. Unfortunately, not Mace though, that beautiful, smart, funny prince. He was too good for that world. Don't get too excited for the castle, as they're not filming any additional footage, they're simply using old footage for the castle. According to rumors, they are simply using old footage they already had to show the castle again. Which means we won't get any intense battle scenes shown outside Highgarden, but we could see the outside with some special effects on it. Highgarden covered in snow, Highgarden in flames from the others attacking, or what they've done in the past, show the outside of the castle and then film an inside scene at a studio. Maybe Sam defends Highgarden and gets it in the end. Or maybe it's just an overhead shot to show that winter is everywhere. On the same note, they're also returning to Pike in the final season. Leaked photos show that they've returned to the location they've used for Pike in the past. So I have a feeling they're going to use Pike for a similar thing, showing that it's also affected by winter. Again, I wouldn't get too excited about Highgarden. Unfortunately, there's probably not going to be anything too amazing done there. Kind of a surprise, but there's been new castings this late in filming. We know they're wrapping up shooting in a few months, yet there's some new roles that they're calling for. Watchers on the Wall reports that one is a strong soldier, for a male actor 30 to 40 years old, and they're looking for a physically intense performance from a strapping squatty type. If you don't know what a squatty is, it's generally the lowest ranking member in an army. But it could also mean a private soldier depending on what part of the world you are. So, and tinfoil, maybe he's working as protection for a certain lord, and then he decides, I'm gonna do something crazy or douchey, or maybe he has to protect the lord. Anyways, it is reported that the actor must have an imposing presence and actual combat skills. So this guy is going to do an action scene and not say, stand around to be murdered. I'd love to see him standing to fight against the whites as everyone else flees, giving his life so others have more time to run. Rehearsals for this position begin April 30th, and shooting in Belfast will begin on May 23rd. It is believed the next casting is tied to this man, as the rehearsal and shooting dates are the same. A young village girl to be played by a woman between the ages of 18 and 25, who will be naked from above the waist. That's right, people who haven't figured out yet, you can just Google boobies. You're gonna get some more nudity in the final season. Nobody tell them about the porn or how you can Google press. Seen them getting excited about nudity and boobies on TV. Just is so adorable. This girl is going to be attacked by a man, and just a stab here. He's probably going to try to rape her or some shit, and then Mr. Soldier steps in and beats the shit out of the guy, and the girl is so thankful. Or, plot twist, the soldier is the one that's all like, I want to see your titties, and he strips her. They have to get that nudity quota somehow, which I'm not complaining about. You know, human bodies are neat, and I'm still waiting for that direwolf orgy. There's also a clean-shaven, grieving man between the ages of 30 and 40 years old that's going to be in a, quote, highly emotional scene, but he can't go over the top with it. He will begin shooting June 18th. I mean, this could really be anything, maybe a lord losing someone important to him, casualties of war. I'm really interested in what fucked up thing D&D wrote that makes us feel awful after we've watched it. Every time I think they can't make me cry anymore, that it can't get any worse, I'm reminded.
It can't be any worse. It can. It can always be worse.
Lastly, it's being reported they need 5 characters for an improv-heavy scene about haggling over land. Obviously, with all the death that's happened, there's a lot of empty land in Westeros. So really, this could be haggling over quite a few places. As they are minor characters, I kind of wonder if maybe some of the Freys that survived are fighting over shit, as would be tradition. Or maybe lords in the Riverlands trying to decide who gets what now that the Freys are gone. It would be nice to see the chaos of the Riverlands and lords fighting over land. I never get enough of seeing the shit show that's the Riverlands. How dark and terrible can they go? Never dark enough. It's also nice that despite how dark this final season is supposed to be, apparently the showrunners are adding in some fun dialogue and scenes. Maybe they don't want to completely break us this season. But what do you think they're haggling over? Next, you thought 1 flaming sword was cool. Then we got 2 flaming swords, and that was awesome. Now we're getting 3+ flaming swords, and that is fucking epic. From some snooping, it's been caught on camera, warriors riding into battle with flaming swords. Beric is the easy guess, but I'm assuming Jon is going to start ordering flaming swords to take down the whites, along with the trebuchets we've been seeing that's flinging fire. But I'm also down for the Hound, Jon, and Beric trio with flaming swords and a dragon overhead burning shit with them, while objects are being flung at the undead that are on fire. I'm not sure how anyone wouldn't think seeing those 3 marching forward with flaming swords wouldn't be out of this world crazy to watch. In other news, Missandei may die in this final season, though I'm still on board for a Grey Worm dying and then her living the rest of her life bitter, sad, and alone. In an interview, she stated she isn't as involved in many scenes as the other members of the cast, and they've been shooting a bunch of scenes she's not in. Honestly, this could be just because the Great War takes up most of the final season. What kind of role would Missandei have in the Great War? So of course she wouldn't be in a ton of scenes. We're not doing a lot of diplomacy or translation that she's needed for. She did say shooting has gone well, so at least there's that. In George news, George moved his Not a Blog to his own website, which is neat. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Or don't. See what happens.